Well, hey folks, real honestly with your rental, and here's another countdown: 10 NXT talents who could be released in 2019. And the inspiration for this countdown came up, and yes, I have done plenty of countdowns like this in just the recent past, mainly in November, December, that kind of stuff, about talents that could be released in 2019, talents that deserve a push, talents that will shine, da 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 da. So yeah, I've done quite a few of these. The reason I'm focusing strictly on NXT is I was talking to a friend of mine on Twitter, Valena at Valena WWE, if you want to follow her, and you should. She's a lot of fun to talk to. Her and I were talking about how really with NXT, there's too many talents there. The performance center is at max capacity, this kind of stuff. Like, they have so many talents, only so many can get featured on TV. Like, they have their live events, they have their house shows. Sometimes they run 2 a day. They run a main show in a bigger city, and then around Florida and surrounding areas, they will run smaller shows where they get their newer talents and people that are a little less experienced out in front of audiences and see how they can improve. And that's great. But the problem is they also only have 1 hour of NXT TV a week. I'm not saying they should extend it, now none whatsoever. Except maybe occasional 90-minute specials that they want to have some bigger matches. But since they have the takeovers, there's only a select amount of matches on the takeovers. The bottom line is there's only so many slots for so many talents until they are going to be featured just strictly as jobbers. Now, I am not saying that any of these talents are necessarily bad. Well, there are a couple I might rant on a bit. But these are ones in particular I could see getting released. Now, if you guys are fans of any of these talents, please understand I am not saying that these talents are bad, that you guys can be fans of them all you want. And this is just my take as a wrestling fan, just presenting what I see. That's really just what it is. But again, big thanks to Valena for giving me the inspiration for this. So, here we go. Though there will be an honorable mention to Jasmine, Duke, and Marina Shaffir, and I know there is time for them to improve. Maybe, because Shayna Baszler did prove me wrong. Shayna Baszler, though, at least looking even back on her other matches, seemed more legit, seemed to get it right away, because she had been, made her debut in 2015, I think in later 2015, but still had been wrestling for a little bit. And she seems to have gotten it right away. Now, I mean, yeah, okay, her style may not be for everybody, and I'm not saying that I necessarily find her that exciting, but she's gotten it, and at least has improved and has shown to be legit. However, Jasmine, Duke, and Marina Shaffir are fucking awful. They are fucking rotten. From that run-in that they did at Evolution, yes, that was on a big stage, and I might have been nervous and that kind of stuff. That was sloppy. They've had 1 or 2 matches on NXT TV. I think it might be 2. Could have been 3. Hasn't been that many. I know they've been working on house shows. But the run-ins they did at the most recent Takeover Phoenix, were really, really bad. I mean, they're not ready for the spot. The only reason they're there is because of Ronda Rousey. And, burial of Ronda Rousey's influence can be saved for another video for another day. But Duke and Shaffir just are not very good. They really, really aren't. Should they be released? Yes. Do I want to see people lose their income? No. And that's the thing about these countdowns. I don't want to see anybody lose the ability to have income. And it's not that any of these talents can't go somewhere else and be somebody big. They can't go to AEW, or they can't cut their teeth in New Japan, or they can't or some of these women, and there will be women mentioned on here, can't cut their teeth in Shine, Shimmer, or sign with AEW in their budding women's division. So we'll see. Anyway, let's get on with this. Done a long enough introduction and a long enough ranting there. Jackson Riker, the former TNA gunner. Well, TNA Impact Wrestling. He is a good athlete. He is about as legit of an athlete as you can get. You can tell he tries. He has improved. He has gotten cut. He is better in the ring than he was when he started, and he was even better by the point when they did a feud with him and James Storm, and before James Storm left Impact Wrestling. And that actually wasn't that bad of a feud. But he screams mid-card heel at best, and it's not necessarily that he's bad. He could be better on his own. I think this whole Forgotten Sons thing is pretty damn bad. But should he be released? I'm not even saying any of these should be released. Maybe with the exception of a few, since they've been in there for a while. But he is somebody where it's okay, he could be there for a bit, they could find out it doesn't work, and he can move on to another company. So he's certainly not bad. I think he's pretty good. But he'll scream mid-card heel, whether he's on NXT or he ever gets called up to the main roster. And then we get to a name I always screw up, Tanara Conte. I think I screwed that up, but I feel bad for putting her on here because as an athlete, she is really legit. People could point to the language barrier. I don't think it's as big of an issue now in WWE as it has been. They've pushed Asuka, they pushed Io, they pushed Kairi, they pushed others. Sure, maybe giving her a mouthpiece wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe calling her, maybe having, maybe if they ever called her up to SmackDown, if she ever did improve, they could have Zelina manage her because Zelina could speak for her because she's done wonders for Andrade. But Conte, she's young enough to where she can improve. But the thing is, she's barely been featured on TV. Any of the time she's featured, she's just getting beat like constantly. I don't know what her house show record is. I have no goddamn idea. But Conte is somebody I could see them cutting ties with, even though she is young and has plenty of time to improve. They'd cut her and then she'd go be a big star somewhere else, and they could sign her a number of years later. Who knows? I mean, this may seem like a wild card one. It's not that she isn't a legit athlete, but they might not see enough in her to keep her around. Even though it's sad because she is good. And then we get to Steve Cutler at number 8. Again, the second member of the Forgotten Sons. You can see where this thing's going. He's not bad. He's a good tag team guy, I think, but in NXT with their bloated roster and everything, he screams jobber. He's good. He's good in the few things I've seen him in, but it seems like this whole Forgotten Sons thing is just a kiss of death or like a stamp of, you guys are jobbers. You guys are going to win some matches, but you guys are mainly going to job out to the stars. And we go to Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss and his tag team partner Tino Sabatelli, I believe they're still injured, or at least they're close to recovering from injury. Riddick Moss has been in NXT for a number of years. I think at least 3, maybe 4. I just don't see it with him. I mean, him and Sabatelli weren't even going to be that much of a team anyway. And it's not working. It's not. Riddick could be a fine guy in an addition in another company, but I just don't see him working here. Yeah, injuries are unfortunate. I'm not saying he should be released while he's injured. Maybe they should give him a chance once he comes back. But I can see them cutting ties with him, especially. I can see a lot of these cuts happening. Maybe not all of these, but a lot of these cuts happening after WrestleMania. They're going to have to clear some space out. They're going to have to. And, Riddick Moss could end up being one of those guys. Because he's just a guy that's probably perceived as okay. Even though I don't think he's bad in the ring. Number 6, one that I like, and I hate putting her on here. But it's kind of true. Vanessa Born. I think that Vanessa Born has something. I think she has a good presence. I think that with some TV time, she could actually be somebody good. Am I saying that she's ever going to be a multi-time women's champion? No. Am I saying she's going to even be a one-time women's champion? Maybe. They've given the women's title to fucking Carmella. And we're talks about giving it to Eva Marie at one point. So, I mean, good God. Let's not go crazy here. But Vanessa Born, I think, has a good presence and I think could work if they gave her more TV time. But she has been there for a number of years and hasn't been featured on TV in a while. I actually had to look back and she hasn't been featured on TV for a number of months. That's not good, especially when you have time to fill sometimes. Instead of having recaps, you could have a women's match. If she hasn't been featured all that much on TV, that's not really that good of a sign. I know she's on house shows. She's active on social media. I follow her. She seems really dedicated to getting better. I just don't know if WWE is going to see it. I hope I'm wrong, because I like her, and I think she could succeed. They could end up cutting her. Hope not, but who knows. We then get to Wesley Blake. Yes, all 3 of the Forgotten Sons. I'm sorry, but they've had Wesley Blake there for like 4 years. I mean, Blake and Murphy, which were a really good team. I mean, actually, he might have been there for 5 years. It's not working. It's not. Buddy Murphy has really, really improved. I'm not saying Wesley shouldn't be given a chance, but it's like after Blake and Murphy broke up, what the fuck was Blake doing? He was making some occasional house show appearances or dark match appearances and not doing anything. And now the Forgotten Son stuff, it's already been turned into a meme or a joke by the crowd. We forgot you. Clap, clap, clap. I think he's pretty much dead in the water. He is. And it's sad because I think there's something there. I just don't think the crowd's really going to give it a chance. And, I mean, he's been there for a number of years and it just hasn't stuck. It may be time to move on. Also, they really need to stop doing this with these stables. They don't go anywhere. Make them a tag team. I mean, put Jackson out on his own at some point. Cutler and Blake might be able to work as a team, but like a 3 another heel stable or whatever when you already have the Undisputed Era. They're not going to replace the Undisputed Era even after the Undisputed Era leaves. Forgotten Sons are still going to be seen as jobbers. They just are. Then we get to one. I know that there are fans of her that watch my channel, so please again understand that I am not trying to knock you or knock her, but Aaliyah. She has been there for years. She's had so many themes, so many different gimmick changes, nothing is stuck. She is one of those young ones and does actually seem like she wants to try and improve, but she is a perennial jobber. She just is. I don't see her ever gaining any momentum or ever getting into any kind of contention for the women's title. That's not to say that she can't get better. That's not to say that they can't realize, hey, let's give her a sink or swim chance. It just hasn't stuck. And you got to think about how many themes has she had? How many gimmick changes has she had? That's not a good sign when you've been there with the company for a number of years. So, is Aaliyah bad? I'm not saying that. But I think it's about time that they are going to cut her. I think so. Hope not. I hope none of these talents are cut. Again, with the exception of a few of them. Because just some of them are just completely dead weight. But Aaliyah is the one woman I could definitely see them cutting. And she could work well in any other company and I think really improve. And again, so any of these talents, if they end up leaving, especially some of these women, could end up signing with WWE again a few years after going out and cutting her teeth, a la like how Drew McIntyre did it with his career or whatever, and how so many other women have been able to improve and then come back after, or not even improve, but showcase their abilities and then come back. So, hey, who knows? Aaliyah could do that. Number 3, and this is one that I think they really need to cut ties with, Tino Sabatelli. He's a body and that's it. You didn't have really... I haven't been able to see any charisma that he has. It's not that he doesn't have a presence in the ring. It's just not a presence I'm interested in. Tino and Riddick, Tino Sabatelli, Riddick Moss, when they were teaming up, my brain just clicked, just turned off. It wasn't that they were bad in the ring. They were good heels, but they were just boring to me. And Tino's been with the company for 4 years, 5 years, something like that. And he's had injuries, and injuries are unfortunate. I'm not saying, again, like with Riddick, to release him while he's injured. Maybe give him a chance to come back and see what happens. But honestly, they've given Tino some chances. I saw Tino and Riddick at an NXT house show, I believe in 2016. And they weren't bad. But I didn't see any improvement like a year or two later when I saw him on NXT TV. I just didn't. It's time to kind of cut ties with Tino. He'd go out and have a Chris Masters-like run on the Indies or something, maybe. I just don't see it with him. I just don't. I could be wrong. These are 2 that I think are definitely going to get cut, though. Number 2, Kona Reeves. I think that Kona has the size and ability to be something. It's just not going to happen in WWE. The whole finest thing, dead in the water gimmick, not good. Not that he isn't trying, just not going to work. It's a gimmick. I don't even think he believes it. And granted, again, could be just perception and everything, but just looking from a fan's perspective and seeing, just looking at his eyes, I'm like, he doesn't believe it. And, I mean, I wouldn't blame him. It's a fucking shit gimmick. I wouldn't believe that damn thing if I was given it. But yeah, Kona's going to be one that's probably going to be cut. And hopefully he can land on his feet somewhere, because I think the guy does have talent. I just don't think it's going to work in WWE. And number 1, who the fuck else do you think it is? Cassius Ohno. Look, weight aside, the guy is still legit and able to move around really, really well. The guy is just a jobber for life in NXT. Yeah, that feud with Matt Riddle that went absolutely nowhere. He had a little feud with Velveteen Dream, I believe, around this time last year at TakeOver Philly, which had a couple good matches on there. Cassius has just been featured as a jobber and stuff like that. And any victories he gets, you're just like, okay, wait for the next time, and he loses. He doesn't have any momentum. He got re-signed by WWE, basically just pretty much be a jobber to the stars. Now, I'm sure he's getting paid well, and I'm certainly not saying he should leave that cushy job, but if he's up there in age, if he thinks that he has one more run on the indies left in him, go to Japan, go to AEW, go to Ring of Honor, go somewhere, and do something. But Cassius is one guy that I could see them cutting just because, really, they've gotten about everything else out of him that they need to. They really don't have anything else they can get because he's jobbed to everybody. I mean, hell, all he's got to do, I think, is job to Keith Lee or whatever, because I think he beat Keith Lee on a TV taping at one point. But those are the people I think the NXT, the NXT talents that could be cut. Leave in the comments who you think. If you think anybody from NXT UK could be cut, please let me know, and I would love to hear it. And again, If you guys like these people, I'm not saying you can't cheer for them, but that's my opinion. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. Been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I will see you soon.